joining the session with Satya, who's covering advanced form capabilities in Power Pages. Over to you, Satya.
Can you confirm if you can see my screen, please?
We can indeed. Yes, we can.
All right. Yeah. So coming back to the multiple form, as I said, I created in order to split the information, and the other custom table, which is the scholarship. Yeah, so this is another custom table I have created to store the scholarship names. And finally, we are going to use the applicant, means the out of box contact table. OK. Also, I want to show as a prerequisites about the table permissions. So already I have created the required table permissions. So one table permission we need for the application, and the application, it is I like when user is submitting application from the portal, they want to maybe view only the application which is submitted by them, not all the application which are available in the can everyone see my screen? Is there a problem?
We can see your screen. Yes, correct. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, no problem. I think just had a pop-up message. Maybe please rejoin, leave the session and join. Maybe that would resolve your issues. Thank you. Right. So the user who is going to submit, they maybe want to see only this application submitted by them. We don't want to show all the application, right? So I'm not going in detail, but just for awareness, to achieve that, the access type I set as contact access, and the required permission I have set. And if you can see the scholarship one, I set as a global table permission, but I have only given the read and append because we want to read during the application submission process, and we want to append this to the applicant. We don't need any other kind of a privilege. So due to which there are only two privileges been set up. And the same thing for the contact. Again, contact is on the self access level, because if I'm external user, I'm logged into portal, and I should not be seeing, or I should not be accessing any other user details. So for that, the access level has again been set as self level, and I've given a read and append because we are going to associate this contact record as an applicant to the application, right? So this is all the prerequisites. Now we are going to now build the advanced form. We'll go in a step-by-step process so that you exactly see how it works. And as I said, in order to create the advanced form, currently it doesn't allow or support a component type directly in the Power Page Studio. That means we need to go into the portal management model driven app. So you can go from here, click this button and go to portal management. So I have already opened one. This. Right, so let's now build. So very first thing we need to do is we have to create a advanced form. New. Keep this name as scholarship application. Okay, and the website. Did I take this one? So in the presentation, I was explaining the different properties required in order to set. So while creating, still we don't have step defined. So it's a quite thing that you need to move here and there. First you have to create the form, then you have to create step, then again you have to come back to this form to associate few things. So there are, it's not a kind of a very smooth way in order to go. That is why the planning is so much important, that you have everything how you want to build. So we'll come back to this later. Now authentication required, I'll say yes, and start new session unload. Yes, set to no, so that we can see how it is going into the exact step. Multiple records for user permitted. Yeah, let's say allow yes. And some of these properties for now I'm leaving, and I will come back later to this. Now the process indicator, in order to display the progress bar at the top of the screen. So let's enable, and I want to go with the title and the position as top. And there are other options, as I was mentioning, either you can display the step number or the progress bar. So for now, we'll go with the title. This particular properties I was explaining on the slide will come back later. So this is kind of a very initial container advanced form. Given the details of the name of the title of the form and just say. Now we need to start building the at least one step in order to add this into the web page, right? So we'll build one, add into the form, we'll see, then we'll go proceed further. So let's create our first step, which is the select application, the select scholarship. So provided the name, and in the type, as I was mentioning, it could be condition, load form or load tab and redirect. But on the Dataverse side, already I created form. So I'm going to load the whole form for this particular step. So I'll select the load form option here. Now I have to select the table name, which is application. And we don't have next step yet. So we'll leave this for now. Move previous permitted. So if this tick box, this checkbox is ticked, then it basically allows to go into the previous step. But as this is our first step, so it doesn't really make sense. So we are going to remove this and enable table permission. Yes, we'll be always enable this. Now form definition. So there are three different mode. Either it is insert, edit or read only. And for the very first step, it is going to be insert, because as soon as I click the next button of the first step, I want my record to be created in the Dataverse. Then I can basically fill the other step details at any point of time. So mode would be insert for the first step. And I have to select now which form Dataverse form I need to render as part of this step. So this is the choose scholarship. Now we do not have to select the tab name here, and the source type. Again, the source type would be used for the further step, but not required for the first step. So we'll skip this one. And the other important is I want, when the application is created for the first step, the applicant should automatically the applicant lookup. So for that, we can associate the current portal user, which is the contact, to that. So you need to tick this. And here I'll select the applicant, which is from the application table. And finally, we'll go into the form option. Yeah, I don't need captcha. Hide on success. Yeah, fine. All I need is the progress indicator. Basically, we selected that what is the title of the step, where what we are giving is one dot select scholarship. And if we go with the default settings, it is exactly going to show that same step, one dot something. But if you want to override, if you want to call something else here, then you can again provide your custom title. And I'm going to provide just maybe a with some HTML tag and put that select scholarship as a title. So instead of displaying one dot select scholarship, and instead of displaying the default styling, it will just use the header 3 styling of the Power Pages, and it will display this text. OK. And again, there are more properties. The next button and the previous button, what is their styling, or if you want to change the button text, those details can also be modified. So for now, let's leave this one. We'll maybe change for the next step. OK. So I think we are ready for this one. So let's save this. So for this particular form, select scholarship, I have added a drop down field. No, sorry, lookup field, which is to select the scholarship. but I wanted to display this instead of a lookup. I wanted to display this as a kind of a drop down. Maybe quickly to show you one of the basic form for the same kind of a table, then we can refer correctly. So I'm talking about this. This is actually a scholarship name is a lookup, and if I select this, it shows all the scholarship available record available in the system because we set a global permission. But I wanted to make this as a drop down, and for that we can define a metadata. So we go to related metadata and add as a new metadata. So the type, there are various type you can add your metadata to. You can add into attribute, to a subgrid, to a section, so various things. But for us, it is the attribute. And which attribute? It is the scholarship one. Scholarship name. And what do you, how we want to render this control? We want to render as a lookup as a dropdown. So render lookup as dropdown. Okay, save and close. So we are done with the metadata. This first step is also ready. Let's do one thing. Go into the advanced form and set the start step. And the start step would be the first one, select scholarship. And this is the basic settings is now configuration is ready in order to add this particular advanced form into a web page. So let me copy this. Now go into the studio and we'll create a new page. I'll add into the other section, I would say by now. You see, there are no kind of control available for advanced form. So we have to add this in the liquid code. And in order to do that, you go to the code editor here. And within the column block layout, I will add the advanced form, which is the scholarship application, right? And the it is a liquid code. So it is this and the percentage. And it is going to be web form name and the name of the form. So where is my double quote? A single quote I'm not getting. Copy. I don't know. From keyboard, I'm not getting this. Right. So yeah, it should be look like this. So click save. So as soon as you do that, it shows there is a component added, which is of type advanced form. It is saved. If I just navigate another page and come back to this, hopefully. Yeah, I think I need to sync because the changes I made was in the model driven app. So Page Studio has no knowledge about that. So let's use sync. Uh, Looks like everything is slow at the moment. Yes. Right. Yeah, it displays. And so it displays the first kind of a step, but still the step names are not been displayed because we have not added the further step, right? So let's add all the other step, then we'll come back and see. So I'll move back into the advanced form and create another one, which is new advanced form. This time we are going to now create additional details. And this is going to be again load form, and this is application. I'm blind. Yeah, here. Right. Yeah. And now the move previous button permitted is makes sense because we have a previous step and table permission. So form definition. This time it is going to be edit because the past step would allow to create the record, and this time we'll update. And the form name will select as additional details. And the source type in this case, it would be the result from the previous step. And we do not need to associate the portal user because it's already been done in the step 1. In the form option, again, we just change the progress indicator title to a header additional details. And this time, let's say use a styling button 2. And the next button styling is VTN button 1. And in this page, I think we have degree type as a code component. So let's add a metadata for that. This is attribute and the degree type, and we are going to render this as a code component. So select this style to code component, 7 close. And maybe we have another one for the full time. When I designed the page, I have configured the code component for that. So quickly, just to show you so that you are not going blind. If I open the additional details, doing this, let's save this one. Portal is going very slow at the moment. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so if you see the degree type, this has been configured with a code component, and we wanted to display the same code component to the portal. So due to which I had to add the metadata for the degree type and the full time column. Right, so our second step is now defined. Let's create the next step was the check the degree. So we'll create the next step. Go to the scholarship application, advanced step, add a new advanced step. check degree, and this is going to be type condition, because as we are explaining in the use case, if it is master, then we have to display a different one. But if it is not master, will be directly go to consent. I think it's better idea to display the create the other one first, which is the master one. And once we have the master and consent defined, then we can create the degree one. So I'm creating master degree information, which is a load form and the same application table. Yeah, move previous, enable correct form definition. The mode would be edit here. The font name is master degree information. And source type is result from previous step. So whatever is completed in the previous step, the result will come here. I think that's all for now. And in the form option, again, we'll set the title to master degree information, and the styling for the previous button and the next button. Should be button 2, previous one. One. Yeah, so now save. And in this, I think we have one custom control, I think, which is the description box, rich text. For that, let's add another metadata attribute, which is this is for the description column, and the style would be again code component. Close. Yeah, so we build this one, and we need to build the next one, which is the consent one, which is our final step. The application consent, and this is again load form, and the table is application. Again, this will be edit. Only the first would be the insert mode, record would be created, all other step would be edit mode. And I'll be using application consent. The source type again would be result from the previous step. I think for few of the step I missed this step also. So whenever we select the source type, we have to tell which step it is, the source step is. So for this one, it would be the additional details, because the master degree information is going to be conditional. If the degree type is master, it is going to be this step. Otherwise, from the additional details, it can directly go to the consent. So for that, we'll set the entity source step as additional details here. And in the options, it's title. If I run out of time, I already have this set up in another website, so I can jump in there. And before I run out of time, I can quickly show you the same thing. OK, so I think we built this. So the final one, we need to build the check condition one. So we go to the advanced form again, and the steps. As I mentioned, backward and forward in this in order to create all the steps and make the connectivity. So we have the first, second, third, and fourth, but on the third stage, we need a check condition. So I'll be creating another step, which is of type, let's say, check degree. And instead of this load form, I'll give this as a condition. And as soon as we give this as a condition, we need to also select the table, which is application. And in the condition, it asks for a next step, right? And this is if the condition is going to be satisfied, then the next step would be executed. So in our case, if the degree is master, then we are going to display the master degree information. And if you go to the condition tab, we define the condition statement here, and also we define a step for the failure. If based on this condition, if the result is false, then basically this goes to this particular page. And the condition is if the degree type value is master, right? And I've already a code for that, which is the logical name of the column. Then you use the operand and the option set value. And this is the option set value for the master. And if this statement fails, then I directly go to consent, so application consent. So this is my condition step now. 7 close. So all the required steps are created. Now it is time to connect everything together. So we need to go to the select the first step. And now we can select the next step here. So from the first, so this is where it is also important to put all these kind of a number of your step, either start with ABC or with a number, so you know exactly from which step to which step you are going, and the connectivity you can make correctly. So it can go to additional details. And yeah, this first step is fine. I do 7 close, save this. So we connected from here, the first to second. Now go to the additional details. Again, we have to select the next step here, which is the master degree. No, it cannot be master degree because we are saying after this, the checks need to be done. That means the check degree would be linked here. And in the form definition, I missed this one, result from previous step, which is, so we are on the second additional detail step. That means the result should come from the previous step, which is select scholarship. Now with this, we are done with the additional details step. And we already done the third one. Now let's go into the master degree, where we have to define the next step as consent. Let me double check. Yeah, same here. This is going to be the additional details, the previous step of this particular step. And we are done with this particular step. And the last one, still I have not done the redirection one, which is the final one, but we can do that later. Not a problem. Let's now see this in a result. Right. And let me do a sync. Still says loading page. Let me do a hard refresh. Okay, so let's sync. Generally fast actually, but I've realized whenever you are on a screen share, I should not say that, but it happens. And maybe this system is now not performing that good. It is still loading. Maybe the application.
Hi, Satya. Yeah. So I agree. Look, when you're doing MS Teams presentations, it does take up some bandwidth. And I think there's just I think with the Teams crashing earlier on, yeah, there could be some other issues going on there. So yeah, I wouldn't worry too much. I know we've only got 7 more minutes. There you go. It's displayed.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
I was thinking
So
it
let's
could
have a
be our
preview of this one.
attendees, right? Our attendees all building their portals, right? All at the
Oh
same
yeah.
time.
Could
Yeah,
be, yeah,
you're right. Yeah,
everyone are
hogging
accessing.
hogging the data centers. You're right. Yeah.
Here we go. So this is our advanced form with a multiple stage with a nice looking kind of a progress indicator. So let's create one record, select the scholar save, my favorite, click next. And we said in the additional details, we have the selected scholarship is already displayed. And this is a assurance of we added a configuration to set the applicant automatically on the first stage. And you can see already that has been displayed. And if you want to quickly show you on the backend also what happens at the same time, it must have already created a record. We'll go in a minute, but this is our conditional branching. This is a code component. And if it is degree, this will directly move into the application consent. But if it is master, then it will display this. So let's do the bachelor first. And major, maybe I would say computer science. Full time, maybe senior. So these are the button styling we added because generally Power Apps, Power Pages has the styling and all the definition that how the button would look like. And based on that, I defined in that style set that how my previous button and next buttons would look like. So it is picking from there. So clicking next. It is now skipped the master degree information because we said the degree type is not a master, right? So yeah, this I have not configured yet. Let's do it. What is the time? 55 now. I'll not get time. I'll show you the other one, but let me submit this one. So this has been successfully submitted. As I was mentioning, there is also we can define a step which is of type redirect. And instead of just showing the successfully message, we can redirect directly to the application and it will nicely show the new one which is created now. Yeah, we can display this application. So quickly to create the second type, which is the master degree one. Sorry, wait. It's my mistake. I intend to do preview. Or I'll directly navigate to apply now. Okay, so we'll select another one, click next. Now in the additional details, we'll select masters, full-time, senior, click next. So this time it will go to the master degree because our degree type condition match. So we are on the master degree information, and the code component of type description was set up. So you can see there is a nice rich box. Let's say welcome. Camp, so you can add all your styling, etc. Just to show you that, yeah, yes, it allows basically a rich text box in the portal. This and click next. So there are so many other things we can do. Let's say some of the fields are not mandatory, and I want user before submitting. I want user to select the consent flag as at least yes. Then we can add custom scripting, and the custom scripting. So I'm running out of time, so I'll quickly show you something like this. We can add a page validator, and we can define all the details about the validator ID and the which control we want to validate and the error message we want to display. And as when the function would be evaluated, we'll check some condition using jQuery that either if the consent value is false, then you return false, otherwise return true. And if this code, if we can inject into the application consent form option, so every form step has a form option, and there is an option to inject your custom JavaScript. So once we do that, so we can basically use any custom kind of a logic. So I'll quickly show you the other one which I built, because I would not have time to build the last redirection and the showing you the signature one, which I intended to do. I'll just move into the other site I have. Yeah, how do you ensure that the unique record is added that is driven by that session flag? Um, if you are setting a um, yeah, sorry, the multiple flags, multiple records allowed or not. If you're setting to no, then it will just create one record. So there is a flag which I was showing in the presentation. This is on here. I'll go to this. Okay, just sign in quickly. Apply for scholarship. Select your scholarship. Next. Let's say master full time. Next. I'll just click next here. Yeah, cost of tuition is a mandatory here. Again, behind the scene, this in the Dataverse, the cost of tuition is a recommended field, and there is a settings in the web form step that you can set that display all the render all the recommended field as mandatory. So this will become mandatory. You do not have to make explicitly mandatory in the Dataverse. So here I was explaining injecting of the custom scripting. So that script is injected here. If I click submit now, it will not allow until I select that yes. And there is also a signature control. Yes, and finally do submission. And as a last step, there is a redirection step, which due to which it is redirecting to directly application form. Consist of time, I think I'll stop here, and if there are any questions, we can discuss.
Thank you, Satya, and well done. Considering Microsoft Teams crashed for everybody, which is the first time that's ever happened, guys.
Yeah.
And you managed to carry on, and I think you covered a lot of really good scenarios with your advanced form scenario. So I think huge rounds of applause. Thank you, Satya. I know everyone else really enjoyed it. So thank you once again, Satya, for that session. There are lots of questions in the chat. However, I'm not sure if we're going to get an opportunity to answer them all right now, as it's time for our next session. However, what we can do is, Satya, feel free to answer any of those questions relevant to you in the chat. Is that okay?
Yeah, definitely we'll do that, Raj.
Yeah, can't see anything specific, but if you just go through the chat, there's a couple of questions in relation to table permissions, but we have a session on table permissions shortly anyway. But don't worry about that. Okay, Satya. Well, Satya, before you go, look, you've been a regular contributor to the Power Pages community, Power Apps Portals community over the few years. So it's important that you share your contact details in the chat with the community so they can keep in touch with you.
Definitely, I'll share my LinkedIn details and Twitter, and I would say thanks everyone for spending your time to attend this. I think you guys motivate us to share our knowledge with you all. So yeah, thanks for joining and listening me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Satya, and I hope to see you in person very soon.
Cheers. Bye.
Fantastic. That was Satya, guys. So again,